Hey Chiefs Kingdom, brace yourselves because what I'm about to tell you might completely change how we're looking at the 2026 season. There's a major update coming straight from inside the building, and for the first time we're hearing something bold, something confident, something that could flip the entire narrative around our franchise quarterback. All offseason, we've been hearing cautious tones, careful words, and a whole lot of wait and see. But now, that tone just shifted in a big way. And trust me, if this update is accurate, the rest of the league should already be on notice. So the big question is, are the Kansas City Chiefs about to get Patrick Mahomes back sooner and stronger than anyone expected? Stick with me because this story gets even more interesting the deeper we go. The conversation around Patrick Mahomes this offseason has been filled with uncertainty, and honestly, that made sense. Coming off a serious knee injury involving both ACL and LCL damage, nobody expected quick or easy answers. The organization stayed quiet, almost guarded. We heard from coaches, we heard from insiders, but every update felt incomplete. It was always praise for his work ethic, always mentions of him being present at the facility, but never anything concrete about how far along he really was. And as fans, that leaves you wondering, right? Are we being protected from the truth? Or is this just part of a long-term plan to make sure Mahomes comes back at 100%? Now here's where things take a turn. Chiefs GM Brett Veach finally stepped up and said something no one else in the organization had said publicly until now. He didn't hesitate. He didn't dance around it. He said Patrick Mahomes is ahead of schedule. Let that sink in for a second. Ahead of schedule. For a player coming off a complex knee injury, those words carry serious weight, and they could mean everything for the Kansas City Chiefs heading into 2026. And it wasn't just a throwaway comment either. Veach backed it up by talking about Mahomes' mindset, his work ethic, and how he's attacked rehab with relentless focus. According to Veach, Mahomes approached this recovery the same way he handled adversity back in 2019 when he suffered that dislocated kneecap against the Denver Broncos. And if you remember that moment, you already know what came next. Mahomes didn't just return, he came back dominant. He led the team, elevated everyone around him, and ultimately brought a championship mentality that defined this era of Chiefs football. So hearing that comparison now, that should fire up every single Chiefs fan watching this. But let's not ignore the cautious side of this story. Even with Veach's optimistic update, there are still layers to this situation. He made it clear that he's not the one making the final call. That responsibility belongs to Rick Burkholder, the team's vice president of sports medicine. And when it comes to a player like Mahomes, you better believe every decision will be calculated, careful, and based purely on medical readiness. Because here's the reality. Mahomes will want to get back on the field as soon as possible. That's just who he is. But the Chiefs? They have to protect him even from himself. And that creates an interesting dynamic heading into OTAs. We're right on the edge of organized team activities, and naturally, fans want to know, will Mahomes participate? Head coach Andy Reid has already hinted at caution. He mentioned that Mahomes is in a good position, but also suggested they may hold him back strategically, possibly to keep the PUP list option available. So even if Mahomes is ahead of schedule, that doesn't automatically mean we'll see him fully unleashed right away. But here's where things start to get exciting again. Being ahead of schedule at this stage of recovery is not just a small detail. It's a major indicator of how well everything is progressing behind the scenes. It suggests that the rehab is working, the knee is responding, and Mahomes is doing everything necessary to return at a high level. And when you combine that with his natural talent, leadership, and competitive drive, that's when things start to feel dangerous for the rest of the NFL. Let's talk timeline for a second. Training camp in St. Joseph is just about 3 months away. That's not far at all. And once we hit camp, everything accelerates. If Mahomes is truly ahead of schedule, there's a real possibility we see him participating in some capacity during camp. Maybe not full speed, maybe not every drill, but present, active, and building chemistry. And if that happens, the narrative around the Kansas City Chiefs shifts instantly from concern to confidence. Now imagine this scenario. Mahomes enters training camp with momentum, gradually increases his workload, and by preseason he's taking controlled reps. Suddenly, what looked like a long recovery turns into a carefully managed comeback. And instead of questioning his readiness, we're talking about how sharp he looks. That's the kind of storyline that can energize a locker room and ignite a fan base. But let me ask you this. Do you think the Chiefs should take it slow no matter what, or push forward if Mahomes feels ready? Because this is where opinions start to split. Some fans want to see him back immediately, leading the offense, setting the tone. Others believe patience is the key to long-term success. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because this is a debate worth having. Another important angle here is how this impacts the rest of the roster. When Mahomes is progressing well, it changes how the team prepares. Receivers get more confident. The offensive line tightens up. The coaching staff can install more advanced schemes knowing their QB1 is on track. It's not just about one player, it's about the ripple effect across the entire organization. And let's not forget the mental side of recovery. Coming back from a major injury isn't just physical. It's psychological too. The fact that Mahomes is reportedly attacking rehab with intensity and confidence speaks volumes. That mindset is what separates good players from great ones. And in Mahomes' case, it's what keeps him in that elite category. There's also something else worth mentioning. The Chiefs have been unusually quiet about specifics until now. That could mean they were waiting for a significant milestone before sharing anything publicly. And if Veach felt comfortable saying ahead of schedule, that likely means internal benchmarks are being met or even exceeded. That's not speculation, that's reading between the lines. Still, caution remains the theme. The Chiefs know exactly what's at stake. Rushing Mahomes back would be a massive risk. So even with positive updates, expect a measured approach. Controlled reps, gradual increases, constant evaluations. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't just to have Mahomes back. It's to have him fully ready when it matters most. And that brings us to the bigger picture. The AFC is as competitive as ever. Every edge matters. If Mahomes returns strong and on time, the Kansas City Chiefs immediately re-enter the conversation as one of the most dangerous teams in football. Not because of hype, but because of proven ability. So Chiefs Kingdom, here's the bottom line. For the first time this offseason, we have a clear, confident update about Patrick Mahomes' recovery, and it's a positive one. He's ahead of schedule. He's attacking rehab. And he's giving this team a real shot at entering 2026 with momentum. That's not just good news, that's powerful news. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Mahomes will be ready for training camp? Should the Chiefs play it safe or go all in if he feels good? Drop your opinion in the comments. Let's get this conversation going. And if you want to stay updated with all the latest Kansas City Chiefs news, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your fellow fans. Because trust me, you're not going to want to miss what comes next.